Hello everyone, I recently finished the Lotus Esprit 1/8 scale model by Agora Models, and I would like to give you my thoughts on it. I divided the review into three sections. The first one is about the things that I really liked about the model. The second one is about the things that I think could be improved upon. And the third one are the things that are a deal breaker for me. And I will explain that in a bit. Well, the first thing I like are the boxes, the packaging of the boxes especially. They come with a very nice print which says Agora Models, and here you can see the James Bond collection, the Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me, and inside the parts would be inside smaller boxes which are then stacked to each other to fill box like this, and you would get like 8 stages per delivery. Are the boxes adequate for what they're holding? We will talk about that in the second section, where I will talk about improvements, things that I think should be better. The second thing I really like is the screwdriver. They gave us a decent metal screwdriver, and I've organized all my screws in those boxes with compartments. I always do with those builds. And well, another thing I really like is the screws. They seem to have improved something with the screws. Maybe it's the threads or something that screwing experience, it's much better, much easier to do. The only downside that I found with the screws is that sometimes the screw cylinders would crack. So yeah, then you would need to ask for replacement. So that is, maybe the screw cylinders didn't have the right diameter. Although I did not over tighten them as explained in the manuals, they still cracked. So yeah, be very careful with that. Another thing that I really like are those supports. The model comes with 2 supports, which make it possible to display the model at an angle, looking like it's floating into water. And those are actually really nice. It's a really nice feature that they provide you with an option to display this model with. What I think that could have been improved is that, well, those supports are black and they are really visible inside the display, and it would have been great if they made these out of a transparent material so that it looks like it's just water and there's nothing on the bottom of the model, and the model is floating freely. That would have been really great. What I also don't like is that these supports, they are get fastened with 2 screws onto the underside of the body. So they are screwed with there are 4 screws supporting those supports. So I don't know. I think it's a lot of tension on just those 4 screws, and I'm a little bit concerned that they might break in time because of the weight of the model. But well, let's see that. So that's not a deal breaker for me, but it does concern me a little bit. One last thing that I really like about the model is that they made the propellers on the back of the vehicle fully functional. They activate by pressing a button on the remote control, which is provided, and then they spin, and this looks really great. And then you can turn them off again, and I think making them functional is really a very nice feature. Now let's talk about the things that I think can be improved upon. The first thing that I think can be better is that there is a little bit too much gap between some of the body panels. That is the case here between the bonnet and the front body panel, and also between the left light compartment and the bonnet. This is a huge gap, as you can see here. That is the first thing that I think can be improved. The second thing that I think can be improved is that they made some of the panels out of plastic. That is the case for the headlight compartments and the rocket launcher compartment, also for the fins, and also the panel, the cover for the batteries, which is on the bottom of the model. If you take a look at the instructions, you already see a slight difference in color. And well, you see that the finish on those plastic parts is different than the finish of the metal parts. So it does concern me a little bit that in time those plastic body panels will get, well, will become yellow, and that there will be a significant difference between them and the rest of the model. It's not that much now, so it doesn't bother me that much, but you can see the difference. Third thing that can be improved upon is that those headlight compartments and the rocket launching compartment are spring-loaded compartments. You can open them by pressing on them and then they open. But what you will notice is that after a time of being closed, the spring inside will weaken and they will not open fully anymore. And they will stay like half open like that one, and then you will have to push them up in order to open them properly. That is a little bit of concern. Well, how to countermeasure that? I think, well, keeping them open on your display, that would be, yeah, maybe better in order not to put too much tension on those springs and to, well, make them non-functional within a period of time. One other thing that I didn't get right is the green color of the interior. Here you see a door liner and you can see that the color is a dark green, while in reality it should be light green, as you can see in this picture showing the interior of a real Lotus Esprit car. Another thing that I missed is that the bulkhead should be carpeted up to here, and they do not provide a carpet, as you can see in this picture from the instructions. And this is something that I've added myself to the model, but this is something that they missed. But it's really very, very typical for a Lotus Esprit car, and it's really visible. Let's move to the lights and the electronics. Agora Models provided cold white LEDs, while in fact the light of those headlights and also the interior light should be warm white. I don't know why they did it. I think they wanted to recreate the underwater image of this vehicle while being submerged, where you can see some bluish tints, but that's just not accurate. So what I did is change every LED in this model to warm white LEDs, and that looks like this, which I think it is a much better representation of a Lotus Esprit car. Now let's talk a bit about the remote control. The remote control is, well, I think it's a very nice feature. It powers the headlights and then the turn signals left and right. Then you have the brake lights and you have the dashboard lights, the missile targeting panel lights, and the propellers. And well, yeah, I think it's a nice remote. The only thing that well, bothers me a little bit is that the buttons are really sturdy. I don't know, it's the feel of them when you're pressing them. You can hear a click, but it's like very hard to press on the button. So well, I would have liked them to be a little bit softer, but well, after all, it works as it's intended, so it's not a deal breaker for me. So speaking about electronics, the car is powered by 3 AAA batteries, and there's also a switch here, and you have to turn that switch on in order to power on the vehicle, and then you can use the remote control for the various functions. Well, the only downside to this, and I think it's really a missed opportunity that they didn't include a USB-C port, is that, well, if you, well, I'm keeping my model inside a display, a glass display, and I'm keeping this button turned on. And with this button turned on, the batteries last for about a week. And after a week, I have to, well, take the model out of the glass display and then replace the batteries. And otherwise, I will have to, well, open the display each time, open the left door, and then turn the switch off after I've finished playing with the model. And I think that is not a good option that they have given us. I think that they should have provided a USB-C port that would have been hassle-free. There we could have had a cable on the underside of the model, which would have not been that visible and could have provided power to the vehicle. So I think that is a missed opportunity that they can definitely improve upon with their future builds. Now let's talk about the deal breakers. The most important deal breaker for me are the body panels. The finish on those body panels is not on par with the high price that we pay for this premium model. And I will explain that to you with a few examples. Well, first of all, the bonnet. There are several things going on here. First of all is that the holes in the bonnet here, they are, well, kind of irregular. They're not a nice cut. It looks like, I don't know, like after casting they didn't neatly sand those parts or remove the excess material. They just painted on top of the parts that came out of the factory. So that is one of the things. Regarding the bonnet, I've had several replacements. My first one came with some black paint splatters, which you can see here and here and here. And I tried to remove them with some polishing stuff, but that didn't work at all. So it seems that they are caught in between the varnish layer and the paint layer, somewhere in between, and I cannot remove them. Well, then I got a second one, which is a replacement, and then I looked at it, and what caught my attention is that it got a bump here, and then I also noticed a bump in the other side. So yeah, this is something that really drove me crazy, and leads to even more replacements of parts. I got a third one, and here you can see that it's not only those holes that are irregular, but there isn't enough paint on this ridge, which leads to the metal part showing through the paint. So you can see some darker part here. This is very visible in person. So yeah, I could not use this one either. So then I got a fourth replacement for this bonnet, and yeah, this one came with those exact bumps as well. And it took me a while to realize that those bumps are a result of the holes that are created inside the bonnet on the bottom side. So you can see here that those bumps are created by, I think it's the drilling process sometimes, but also because of the DS23 screws that are provided and where the hinges attach. So you are supposed to put two hinges here, as you can see in this picture from the instructions, and the outer ones are actually too long. They push the material outwards from the inside, and if you do not fasten them fully, then the hinges are staying loose, and if you are fastening them, then fully, then you get those bumps here and here, and they're both, yeah, very visible on the model. So this is for me, this is a real design flaw. What I think is that one of the things that they, yeah, should go easy when drilling those things, not to fully go through the material and push it outwards. And one other thing is that the DS23 screws, at least for the outer ones, should be shorter, so they should provide like some separate screws for the outer ones, or well, something similar. Well, the second deal breaker are the door hinges. As you can see here, this is the door hinges mechanism, and when the doors are well, almost closed, there's a lot of play in this, so that results in the door not, well, it's not sturdy. And this is something that really bothered me from the start, that the doors do not shut properly, which also means that the door panels do not stay flush with the rest of the body. And as you can see in this video, there is movement in all directions while the door is well, open. And that is something that I think in this scale, at 1/8 scale, this should be a lot better. Yeah, this looks like the well, hinge mechanism that is yeah, always used in these 1/8 models. I've built several of these 1/8 scale models. They have all been produced by models, and this one seems actually the same. Yeah, I know, I don't know if I'm fully right on this, but it also seems like an IXO model with the same door mechanism, and this is just not, it's just not good. It should have been more yeah, a better solution, which is more sturdy. So this is a design flaw that really bothers me a lot. On top of that, the first right door that I received did not align at all with the body panel, so I got a replacement because my left door was aligning perfectly, but the right door was not. And I tried a few things, and I spent about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours on it trying to make it flush, but it didn't work. So I got a replacement, and then the replacement did fit, but somehow, because of all this movement, it was rubbing against the rocker panel, the right rocker panel, and yeah, well, it was causing the paint to go off. So yeah, that was not a pleasant experience at all. So that yeah, I didn't like that at all. Now I got a third replacement door, which I will try not to open that much, because my model will be displayed with the doors closed. And yeah, there is still a problem that this panel really yeah, can touch the rocker panel. Well, if you are not opening it very, very carefully and making sure that those don't touch, because there's a big chance that they will touch, and then the paint will come off, and then you will see that really well. Well, the third annoying thing are the rocker panels. The first one that I got, well, also had some defects, as you can see here, again, as a paint splatter. Black one, I don't know what they did. And here there's also, well, you see it's a little bit of metal protruding, well, showing again that they did not remove all the imperfections before they painted those parts. Well, and then I got a second replacement for this rocker panel, which, well, let me show you, had, again, new defects. So here you can see some metal parts that have not been removed prior to painting it. So they just left it here. And here it also had some imperfections. As you can see, there are some scratches in the paint, which is very visible here and here. And well, yeah, if you are looking from the model from 3 or 4 meters, then you will not notice this. But yeah, well, I feel that we're paying a lot of money for it, and it should not have these kind of defects. It should all be clean and perfect, and they should have clean those parts prior to painting them. And I think this is how will we call it, a quality control issue that they should manage a lot better than they did with this model. So this is this is a real deal breaker for me. The fourth thing that is a real deal breaker to me are those exterior louvers. What bothers me is that if you are looking at the model guide, then they mention that these louvers are made out of metal, while the parts that we actually received are made out of plastic. I also watched their promotional video before purchasing this model, and there, if you look at the model turning, then you see that those louvers are really flush with the model, while in our model there is a gap between the louvers and the body panel. It was actually a lot bigger at first, but I've managed to make it a little bit smaller, but it's nowhere near the like it is in the promotional video with which they sell this model. So I believe it is a little bit misleading that they promise to give you something that, and then they give you something else. It must probably be somewhere in the small writing saying that the things that they show up front are only the prototype, and that they may make any change to the model as they see fit. But I do think that if you are expecting this to be flush and then it's not, or it should have been metal and it's not, these are just misleading the consumer. So I'm not okay with that. Let's talk about the packaging. The body panels come wrapped in these very thin paper, which I do not think is adequate as a protection. In fact, the best protection that I've seen with those 1.8 models has been with my very first model that I've built, the Aston Martin DB5, which was a model from Eagle Moss, and which came with all body panels wrapped in these protective foam. And I think that is the best protection. I don't know why they decided to cheap out on the protection of those body panels, because, well, as you see, they can create a lot of replacements because the panels can get damaged inside the transport. And I do not think that paper is an adequate protection for those premium body panels. More on the packaging. Some of the parts come packed in a blister like this, but there is no protection between the layers of the plastic layers of the blister and the parts themselves. So that means that the upper and the underlying part of the blister, they touch the body panels, but also the clear windows directly. And for the body parts, I think it's not necessarily a problem. It could be, but it's always a problem for those clear parts of the windows, because the plastic material rubs against it and it creates scratches on the inside. And if you want to get a really clean model without scratches, that's almost not possible if the parts are packed like this. So this, for me, and then you can see the scratches on the interior of those parts, this is just not a good solution. I mean, if those parts had been wrapped into something soft, or if there have been some foil that you had to remove before putting it in place, then you could have had like good protection for those parts. But as they are now, this is just not adequate. And this is a shame for the price we're paying for the model, that all the parts come damaged and with scratches and little defects, and you basically have to just live with it. Well, the big question is, would I recommend this model to other people? I'm not sure. I've had so many headaches with those body panels, and I think that for the price we are paying for this model, which is advertised as a premium model, the body panels should be perfect, should not have any defects, and the quality should be much higher. You've seen the holes in the bonnets. Those are a real deal breaker for me. They're not that regular. They should have been perfect. The door hinges are also a very big letdown for me. And yeah, all those defects in the body panels are really bringing it down for me. So as always, do your own research, and I hope this video helps you make a decision if you are planning to buy this model. I think it's an honest review about the things that I like, the things that they can improve upon, and also the things that I think are a deal breaker at the end of the day. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time. Bye.